What's going on, Noel Nation? CJ Wilson with Dope Talk. As you guys know, recruiting is year round, and you can't really linger on the last class because you're recruiting the next class just like that, getting ready for the 2025 cycling signing day, right? So here's the case with FSU. Same thing, got to keep moving. Even though they are putting up finishing touches on the 24 class with a couple more guys that we're trying to add. The main focus has shifted to the 2025 class, and FSU has a pretty big junior day weekend coming up. We're going to cover some of the guys with a lot of blue chip, a lot of elite recruits that's going to be in town. I'm not going to cover every single last one because we'll be here all day because FSU is bringing in premium talent for this weekend. But I will cover a few names I think FSU fans should get familiar with moving forward, just to get you guys started with the 2025 class and get you guys familiar with some names. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Darrell Johnson, 4-star linebacker per 247, 6'1", 200 pounds out of Eastman, Georgia. FSU is recruiting him as a safety, like I said, 6'1", 200 pounds. I think he could be something like in the Jamie Robinson role and how we used him. But again, big time elite defender. Ranked a 4-star, like I said, Porter 247 composite, number 66 overall. Really good kid. Mike Norvell and Adam Fuller made a visit to see Johnson a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, and they went to a basketball game. And during that game, the kid had 25 rebounds and 10 points. So 10 points, 25 rebounds. That was very impressive to me. So I think FSU is in a real good spot with this kid. I wouldn't be surprised if he commits to FSU in the near future. He did state that he could commit rather soon within the next few months. He's been on campus multiple times, 3 times in the fall. His last visit to FSU was in December. He did state multiple times also that FSU is the leader in his recruitment, just by the approach they have with him, and how relatable they are, and just how they relate with the family, and just being real with Johnson all around. So I like this kid a lot. Like I said, 6'1", 200 pounds, number 66 player in the nation for the 247 composite. He will be on campus this upcoming weekend. And I like what FSU stands with him. I think Darrell Johnson will end up being a no at the end of the day. Zayden Walker, 5-star linebacker, also from Georgia, Ellaville, Georgia. FSU has done a really good job within the Georgia area. Of course, Tallahassee is typical, pretty much South Georgia itself. But we're doing a very good job within the Georgia area getting elite recruits. I think Georgia is premium talent right now. Probably the best in the country. Is really close to Florida, but Georgia is really hot right now when it comes to producing premium talent. But speaking of Zayden Walker, 6'3", 220 pounds. He's been on campus multiple times. Like I said, 5-star linebacker, big time playmaker. He is the brother of Jalua Solomon. Yeah, 4-star defensive back from Georgia, same high school that committed to South Carolina. If you guys remember, Jalua was a kid that FSU recruited pretty heavily over the summer prior to his commitment to the Auburn Tigers, and then he flipped his commitment to the South Carolina Gamecocks. But again, like I said, Zayden has been on campus multiple times. I think FSU is in a really good spot here. Um, Other schools that's recruiting him, I would say South Carolina, like I said, due to his brother, University of Georgia, which he's been at multiple times as well, Miami, and the Auburn Tigers. And speaking of Auburn, he also has a brother that's a defensive tackle for the Auburn Tigers. So a lot of good family genes, with his brother Jalewis and of course Zayden himself. But again, FSU is in a pretty good spot. We'll see how it plays out. We'll be on campus this weekend. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys been knowing my feelings about Mandarin, what I've been saying about the program. Said multiple times that Mandarin is ours for the foreseeable future, and I think that still will be the case. 5-star receiver Jaime French, will be on campus for this junior day. And it's a lot of interesting news around Jamie, a lot of buzz around him. He recently decommitted from the Alabama Crimson Tide. He was committed to the Tide over the summer. Decommitted recently once Nick Saban announced his retirement. FSU was, I think, it was a very good spot with Jaime prior to his commitment. I would say they probably finished second. But nevertheless, FSU stays steady in his recruitment. Mike Norvell, Ron Dugas has done an amazing job within his recruitment. Like this kid a lot. Big time playmaker from the Mandarin. Made a lot of plays in the state championship game. Quarterback, we all know the quarterback, Tramell Jones, that's committed to FSU as well. But again, he will be on campus. French. I think he'll end up being a no too. Like I said, Mandarin is ours for the foreseeable future. We have a good relationship there. Dugas is doing an amazing job, and of course, he has the quarterback connection with Tramell Jones. University of Miami and the Georgia Bulldogs are other teams that's pushing for our services. I'm not saying pushing for our services. Every team in the country wants Jaime French, right? But some other teams that he may be interested as well. The Miami Hurricanes and the Georgia Bulldogs. Like I said, speaking of his quarterback Tramell Jones, he will be on campus as well this upcoming weekend. Four-star quarterback, long-time commit, been a commit for I think close to a year. Nothing else really to say about Tramell. He's locked in. He's recruiting, as you see the picture of Mike Norvell with Jaime French and of course Tramell Jones at Mandarin High School a few weeks ago. He's doing a good job as far as just recruiting other guys. I'm pretty sure he's also in the ear of Jaime French and just wants to keep that quarterback and receiver relationship moving forward. The University of Florida offered Tramell. They've been pushing for his commitment. Well, not serious commitment. They've been pushing for his services as well. I'm not sure how. I don't think he's entertaining the University of Florida. To be honest with you, just some of the schools one school rather that has been pushing for his services has been kind of public with that. I think Tramell is locked in. We've been the quarterback within the class, recruiting everyone else. He's been on campus multiple times, countless times in regards to coming to FSU and not visiting other schools. I think he will be the leader of this class as far as being a QB1 going forward and just recruiting and being that bell cow. So hopefully he could lock in. Not actually hopefully. I believe he will lock in his current teammate and five-star receiver Jaime French as well. Time will tell. But FSU is doing a very good job just recruiting Mandarin all around. There's a couple other kids that we're looking at for the 2025 class. You guys know I feel like Hilton Stubbs is the number one safety in the country. So again, FSU is doing a good job recruiting that school right now. Moving on, Zion Grady. FSU is doing a really good job within the trenches, right? Really within these recent weeks, whether the transfer portal or the recruiting trail, they're doing a really good job within the trenches. They heard all your cries in regards to defensive ends and things like that. So again, you got another elite defensive end that will be on campus this weekend for FSU, Zion Grady. Another kid that was committed to Alabama and recently decommitted from the Alabama Crimson Tide due to the Nick Saban situation. Prior to committing to Alabama, I thought FSU was in a very good spot for Zion. He's visited campus multiple times, even kept at FSU and got coached up by Odell Haggins and John Pachuas. So I felt like FSU was in a really good spot for him prior to his commitment. But again, he is from Alabama, so you guys know how tough it is to pull those kids from the great state of Alabama. So nonetheless, he did commit to the Alabama Crimson Tide, and FSU stayed consistent within his recruitment, didn't let up. His father recently stated in an interview that FSU has been recruiting him the hardest out of all the schools. So again, I like where FSU stands as Zion Grady. To get him back on campus is very good. I'm pretty sure the FSU staff is going to make him feel like a priority, like they have throughout this entire recruitment. So it's going to be interesting how things play out for the rest of the year for Zion Grady. Other schools that he's interested in, after his decommitment from the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Georgia Bulldogs, the LSU Tigers, and of course, right, the other in-state school, the Auburn Tigers. So we'll see where FSU stands with him, how FSU moves up, not necessarily stands with, staying in a good spot. We'll see how FSU does recruiting down the stretch with Zion and see if we can go ahead and pull his commitment. 6'4", 230 pounds. Again, another elite defensive end, one of the better players in the country, five-star defensive end, Zion Grady, will be on campus this upcoming weekend. I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys we're on the trail, and on the trail is brought to you by Realtor Jewel Paul. Jewel is a realtor in Southwest Florida, but services the entire state of Florida. Whether you guys trying to buy your home or sell your home, Jewel is your guy. He's willing to donate 20% of the closing costs back to you. So again, money back in your pocket if you go through Jewel. And also, he's an FSU Seminole, so knows how to take care of knows. If you buy your home or sell your home through him, we'll also be donating to the Battles End Collective. So again, you can contact Jude at www.homesforknows.com. Again, www.homesforknows.com. Let's move to the defensive back. You guys know I love me a good cornerback or safety, right? So again, let's go to the defensive back. Gregory Xavier Thomas, 6'2", 190-pound cornerback from American Heritage. This is an interesting one, right? So first of all, it's interesting for multiple reasons. He does have Seminole tribe family ties down there in American Heritage. So he has some family relation to the Seminole tribe, and also, like I say, he's from American Heritage. Defensive back, as you guys know, defensive back coach Patrick Surtain was the head coach at American Heritage. So of course he wasn't there during the time that Gregory was there, but just the relationship and things like that. So again, I think we're in a good spot for this kid. Also, he can play safety as well. Physical, imposing kid, can jam. Plays multitude of positions. Safety, cornerback, just a big guy, 6'2", 190 pounds. For a defensive back in high school, he's a very big kid. Looks the part. Really nice frame. I like where FSU stands with this kid. Penn State, Pitt, and West Virginia are other schools lobbying for his services. That's all we got for this weekend as far as kids that we're going to be focusing on as far as visiting. But let's move the focus a little bit to some other great news. I guess even better news than the visit. FSU got a commitment out of the blue. Blue chip 4-star defensive end Javion Hilson flipped his commitment from the Alabama Crimson Tide to the Florida State Seminoles earlier in the week. Caught me by surprise, caught pretty much everybody in the industry by surprise. A big time athlete, number 47 overall player within the 2025 not recruiting rankings, and within the 2025 player rankings, racked up over 94 tackles, 27 tackles for loss, 14 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles this past season. So again, really big kid for the Seminoles, around 6'3", 230 pounds. We talk about frame and getting defensive ends that look the part, so to speak, so you can get the coach storms and get built by storms and things like that and add to that frame. This guy fits the bill. Athletic kid, really high motor, real speed, violent hands, everything you want in a defensive end. Like I said, high motor. So it's one play in his highlights where he's the left defensive end, hustles and makes the tackle on the opposite side of the field, on the right side on the sideline. So that just shows the hustle, the relentlessness, and things like that. So again, athletic, speed off the edge, violent hands, high motor. I do think he's very raw as far as technique and things like that. So the statistics, the stats he got this past season, those 13 sacks and things like that, pretty much came it's just raw athletic ability. So that is very good for FSU because I feel like Odell Haggins and John Pachua is one of the best coaches and developers within the country. So to get that, how can I put this? To get that athletic frame, athleticism in general, and have it molded by those guys and those coaches, I feel like that's a perfect recipe. I think Hilson is going to be a dynamic playmaker for FSU. Get the 2025 recruiting class off to a good start. We got the Hilson commitment, and also we have a 5-star offensive tackle Solomon Thomas commitment. Ethan Pritchard, 4-star linebacker. He's committed as well out of Sanford, Florida. And of course, you got your quarterback in 4-star Tramell Jones. So FSU has a lot of fireworks on the recruiting trail. I think their fireworks are only going to get bigger and brighter moving forward. We have this junior day coming up. We'll see if FSU has any commits from this junior day. You guys let me know in the comments. Let me know how many commits, if any, do you think FSU will get this weekend. We could have some surprises that will. Nothing will surprise me as far as FSU with how they've been recruiting. So go ahead and let me know in the comments. Go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. Go Noles.